I'm Balbinder. I was born in Leeds in '73. My parents actually migrated in the late 60s from Punjab, northern India. I mean, I come from a long line of very creative women. I mean, my mother was a great textile artist, although she wouldn't call herself that, but I'll bestow that title on her. And her mother before her, and my great-grandmother. There was a great tradition of weaving in Punjab. They're called fulgaris, which are beautiful silk embroidered textiles. And it's something that the women would do collectively. I mean, the idea was to embroider this, and it'd be a communal activity. So you're kind of sharing histories, you know, passing down family stories, or that kind of oral storytelling, which, you know, probably losing it to a great extent now. I mean, I did embroidery, you know, my mother taught me how to sew. And it's certainly in pieces like in the bazaars of Hyderabad, I think a lot of those geometric motifs kind of spring from looking at those textiles. I think it's subconscious more than a conscious happening. I kind of painted and drawn for as long as I can remember, really. I used to draw on wallpaper, freshly papered walls, you know, crayons, and I got away with it somehow, I don't know. I remember being in primary and primary school, middle school, always painting and drawing, and eventually thinking I want to go to art school because it seemed like this exotic place where you could experiment, for want of a better phrase, find yourself, and just develop as an individual. It's the very last thing I do, actually, titling the paintings, and I think it's interesting to have titles that are open to interpretation. I love Philip Larkin, and it was Arrivals and Departures. It's from a collection, The Less Deceived, and it's about this longing. The poem's about a ship coming into dock, and the horns are blowing, and it's a call to the speaker of the poem. You know, will he have the courage to travel? You know, or where do you find that contentment? And it's about your place, really. And I like that idea that everyone should travel and get out of their own comfort zone. Be brave, but equally, I think one of the best things about being an artist, a writer, a filmmaker, you're kind of constantly travelling in your mind. You don't physically have to travel, although I recommend it. You get to meet new people. You get to experience new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing. That's just my interpretation. That's what, you know, I'd call them, but you might interpret that completely differently, and I think that's how it should be. There's no point making an abstract work and then saying, you know, it's a woman in a blue scarf or a woman drinking tea. The experience of isolation wasn't new to me. Well, no, it's not the same as, I think as an artist you're working in solitude, there is a difference, you know, so that's by choice to be on your own. It's not enforced isolation from your family or your loved ones. But I paint on my own. I like to be in my own space. I think the one thing that you can kind of get comfort from, or people have always been able to get comfort from the arts or through the arts, you know, if you find yourself in that time when you can't travel, you've had all your liberties taken away, although for the greater good. You know, you can't see friends and family, you can't travel. But through those arts, you know, whether it's painting or reading a book or watching a film, the world is opened up to you. You know, you have the ability to travel. There's something deeply comforting and reassuring about that. You'll always be able to do it. It's hugely exciting to have an exhibition. You know, you create them in isolation, and then you kind of release them, and then they're not yours anymore. They're not. I mean, you look at that, you know, for the time you're looking at it, you own it. And there's something magical about that. If people's looking at your work, you know, obviously it goes without saying that not everybody's going to like it, not everybody's going to get it. But if the person just walks away thinking something about it, then I think you've achieved something great.